What's going on, friends? Hang tight, hang tight. What's going on, friends? Let me see if this is this thing awake? Is this thing awake? If there were no technical difficulties, guys, like I said, you wouldn't know that you were watching the Alpha Red Comic channel. This is my new camera that I got for Christmas. If you missed the surprise Saturday stream yesterday, I gave you a little sneak peek on one of the Christmas gifts that I got from my son. So I implemented it yesterday, thought I got it all squared away, and just before I started, I noticed that the camera's head was down and not looking at me. So I do apologize. So welcome to the channel. My name is James Nguyen. You are watching the Alpha Red Comic channel, and it is 8 o'clock-ish, and we're going to draw and talk about comics. So I'm glad that you guys are here, and I appreciate it. So who are we going to draw today? If you saw the thumbnail, we are drawing, whoop, I didn't change the screen yet. So this camera can follow me to the right place. So I'm only going to be using the one camera. So hopefully this looks okay. And then I can tell it to stop. I have to hold up my hand, and then it does its little blinkety blink thing. And now it doesn't follow me. So pretty cool. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are into G.I. Joe, the comic book. I know it looks like his head is kind of big, but the proportion is little. The angle of the camera makes it look like the head's a little bigger than it is. But we are going to have some fun, guys, and finish up the pencils on this drawing, and then we'll go into inks. And if we have the time, we're going to go right into the colors. So let me see. Yep, I got all that in place. And we're going to talk about Christmas too. So yesterday I was sharing some of the things that I got for Christmas, but I got this whole box next to me full of Christmas gifts that I got, and I forgot to share them all. So I will be sharing them throughout the draw stream. So let me know, guys, what you got for Christmas. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. A very, very Merry Christmas. So I like to keep it generically simple when I do these draw streams, because talking and drawing at the same time is not very, not always easy. So I am trying to make sure that you get a good picture. So I draw a little bit throughout the day. I started this in the morning, and so I tend to get carried away with it because I can't help myself. I can't stop myself. So I do apologize that you don't see more of the full construction of the image. All you get to see is pretty much he's like ready to be inked. So I am going to just go ahead and ink him, and we can talk about G.I. Joe number 2 that came out 2 weeks ago, and that I just recently read. Are you guys into the comic? I don't know if you guys are picking up the comic or not. I'm really, really enjoying it. Let's start off with do I have a 2 or a 3? I have a 3. So I'm using these Pigma Micron. I don't know what you guys use for your art supplies, but for inking, here it is. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a number 2. So, sorry about that. Whoa. Sorry about that. So we're gonna, I said we're gonna start off with number 2, and I grabbed number 3. All right, number 2 it is. Number 2. And the camera is right where my face needs to be. Hang on a second. Let's see if I can adjust this here, so it's kind of out of my way. I swear I tested it before, guys. So because I got this new camera, the setup is all new to me. And if you're new to the channel, you'll see if you come back that I do something new with my setup almost every week. So I complain about technical difficulties and I blame the equipment, and I'm just never happy with the setup. So I'm always noodling with it, and I only do a live stream once a week. So it is usually my fault for having technical difficulties. So I don't know if you guys grew up watching G.I. Joe, but that was one of my most favorite shows in the afternoons when I would come home. What's going on, Ernest? Thank you for the suggestion yesterday for Mr. Cobra Commander. I had a lot of fun sketching this out this afternoon in between preparing some short ribs. Is that what they're called? I'm not a big cook, but my wife doesn't like to cook the short ribs. And so I had to YouTube a recipe, and I knew that it would take a long time, so I spent a lot of time cooking this afternoon. But once you stick it in the oven, you got a couple hours. So I did a little bit of Cobra Commander drawing. So just like last week, I want to keep it a little bit more loose. And this for whatever reason. There's a reason why it's sitting in this box of almost throwaway pens, because it's running out of juice. So we'll go next one up, number 3. There we go. So I think his name was Dave Santos from Portugal. Said that my drawings are a little too perfect. The line work is a little too perfect, not enough energy. And so I want to test to see if I can get a little bit more energy into my line work. Because I tend to agree that sometimes my line work can be stiff. So I am always trying to improve, as you should be. Always. And so I am not too prideful to take some suggestions and try to improve. So I tend to hold my breath and try to get these perfect slow lines like I used to see. Like I would go like this, real slow, and there would be, kind of whatever. And apparently that's boring. So I'm going to try this more sketchy technique and see if that adds a little bit of rough energy to my artwork. So, and then I can determine whether or not I like it. Because just because other people like it doesn't mean that I like it. But so last week was really the first week that I was implementing this looser, sketchier inking style. So you'll have to go back and check out my other videos and see if you like this sketchier style that I did on the Superman, the James Gunn Superman design drawing that I did last week, versus some of the older stuff that I have posted. Older videos that I've posted where I hold my breath and I get in there and I do more concentrated lines. I don't know how else to say it. I hold my breath and I kind of go for a longer, more continuous line. So let me know how the sound is. And I got my my microphone back. So I loaned my microphone to my wife. She has a podcast. She does a podcast about homeschooling. And so I loaned it to her for, I don't know, a couple weeks. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So I just got it back. I did get it back last week, I believe. Sounds good. Thanks for the feedback, Ernest. So I am glad to have it back. The other one was fine. There's things that I like about both and things that annoy me about both. So I don't know if one is better than the other, but I know that this microphone is a lot more expensive. So I just want to use it to justify having bought it. So that's how I feel about the microphone. So I'm glad to hear that it is working a-okay. You let me know if I am echoing or anything silly like that. Let me see. This was his belt. Buckle. Here's a little triangle, I think. Triangle inside a circle, I believe. So we'll keep that. This belt down here is black. It's got a bunch of like these black pocket things. This is also black. So I'm trying to keep more energy. So I will show you a couple more Christmas gifts that I got. I know, Ernest, you were there for the stream yesterday, but I got some other Christmas gifts that I forgot to share after I turned it off, because I had a couple extra minutes. I was like, I don't know what else to. Didn't want to start anything new. And then I looked over at my Christmas box, and I was like, I'm gonna gone through some more of these awesome gifts that I got for Christmas from generous family members, and for year was that he bought me. I have not tried it yet, so I will probably save it for my birthday sometime next month. I have a birthday next month. Chat disconnected. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Successfully connected. Oh, okay. All right, I guess the chat went down. All right. So, because I heard that the last Transformers movie, live action movie, hinted at a possible G.I. Joe Transformers live action movie, I went ahead and watched Transformers Rise of the Beast. Have you guys checked that out yet? I watched it last night. I have date night with my wife once a week, and she wanted to move it from Friday to Saturday because my son skis, and it's cold enough and snowy enough up here this year that he was able to get on the slopes before the new year. And so we did date night last night, and of course she fell right to sleep as soon as the movie came on. We do a little talking, and then we usually turn on a TV show or a movie. Not usually, but sometimes. More often than not. But it's not always what we do, because we're not big TV people. We just sometimes sit there and show each other memes that we've collected all week long, and that's usually good enough. But yeah, so let me know if you guys like the Transformers live action movies, and if you checked out Transformers Rise of the Beast. Because I checked it out last night, and I forgot why I wanted to see it. So I wasn't consciously waiting for how they were going to reveal whatever it was that people saw that hinted at a G.I. Joe Transformers live action crossover. And then at the very end, they revealed it, and I was like, oh, I noticed some things in the movie that I thought were very G.I. Joe-ish. What's going on, brother Ralph? Hola, James. It's been a while. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ernest says, my son is big into Transformers. We always have to see the movies. However, we did not see the latest one. All right. I think it's on Prime for free. So I don't know if you have Prime, but you can even sign up for Prime for free for a month and watch it. So Rise of the Beast is awesome. Good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Can't wait to see the crossover. Awesome. Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised. It was a little over the top in some areas, but you know, what are you gonna do? They're giant transforming alien robots. So you can't accuse them of going too far off the reservation there. As far as story, you know, some of the stuff was a little cringy, but for the most part, it was pretty good, pretty good. And of course, I didn't finish it last night. I had to wake up this morning and watch it after church. As I waited for my food to heat. Because the wife does not make it through very many movies. So I end up watching it myself while she sleeps. But I started it late. So it ends late. It ended late. Cobra Commander was always cool, but I was more of a Destro fan. Also Zartan, for sure. You know, I always did like Cobra Commander better than Destro. For whatever reason, I felt like Destro was never got like a good storyline where he got to be like to flex his toughness, smarts, or whatever. He always seemed to be taking orders from Cobra Commander, even though Cobra Commander seemed like an unstable person. I don't know why they would all listen to him, but in the comic book, you know why they listen to him, because he's just ruthless. You know, they're all kind of ruthless in the comic book, to be honest. Ernest says, yeah, we saw The Rise of the Beast in theaters, and he is a big fan of Optimus Primal. Yeah. You know what I didn't like about Rise of the Beast was Optimus Prime's portrayal in there. He seemed like I don't know. He didn't seem like Optimus Prime to me. Like he was kind of a jerk. Not really there to protect the humans. Maybe that's what they were trying to get at, was that he was not always on the side of respecting the humans and the people of Earth, which is weird because in all the other iterations that I can remember, Optimus Prime is always very respectful of humans, understanding that they were physically inferior to the Transformers, but he protected us anyway. But he seemed to have like a struggle with that, and was very out of character, in my opinion. So I didn't care for some of the dialogue or some of the dynamics of him having to learn that humans had value too, and that it was okay to protect us and not just Transformers and Cybertron, and wanting to get home. And like, I don't remember him really being homesick. Like, he was always, I don't know, he always seemed to be on the human side, and understood that if they left and the Decepticons were around, that they would just kind of use us and abuse us. So, but for the most part, I like the storyline. I mean, I like all that stuff. like I didn't know how deep they were going to get into like the time travel. It sounded like there was some time travel elements to the key, the warp key thing. So I was worried that they were going to kind of overdo it, but it was fine. It was good. Let me see. Ralph says, but I guess the ultimate was Storm Shadow. Yes, Storm Shadow. Like, I didn't realize that Storm Shadow had like this other like backstory where he's not really loyal to Cobra as much as he is to whatever the interests are of the Rakusagi clan, whatever the clan name is. And so he works with Cobra for whatever time because it benefits the clan. So that's kind of cool. So sometimes he'll jump sides when his motivations align more with the Joes. So I thought that was kind of cool. But Zartan is cool for sure. Ernest says, yeah, we saw Rise of the... Oh, okay. Sorry, I guess I missed some. But I guess the ultimate was Storm Shadow. I thought that too. And I assume, Ernest, that you were talking about the mischaracterization of Optimus Prime. Ross says, yes, sir. Very out of character for Optimus Prime. All of his characters have been morally righteously based. Yep. So that, if I had to nitpick, I just thought every time he complained about being, more Transformer focused was kind of out of character because he didn't feel like he understood or respected the human perspective. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You would think after all these years, Michael Bay would know Optimus Prime. I assume it was a Michael Bay movie. I don't know, it felt like it. So let me know if I'm wrong about it being a Michael Bay movie. What do you guys think? Does this have enough energy? Not so perfect. And is that good or is it bad? Because I'm trying to avoid blind spots in my preferences, just because I don't prefer some of what manga does in their comics. I don't want to miss the boat on manga readers, and just kind of making sure that I don't alienate them or snub them on purpose. So I'm trying some manga type whatever observations that I'm making after looking through some manga and hearing some suggestions and making some adjustments. And one of the suggestions is the less perfect. As I'm saying it, I'm attempting to make a super perfect line there. The less perfect line is something that I guess is a noticeable difference to some people who like manga and don't prefer the Western style comic art. And I am definitely more of a Western style superhero art fan. That's what inspired me Not that I can't appreciate the independent style and the manga style, but I do have my preferences. But like I said, I don't want any blind spots as far as, you know, something that I could easily apply to my comics. I am kind of I'm trying to convert Alpha Red 1 through 5 into one like trade paperback manga thing, and it really just is the size and removing of the color. I don't know if my hand's in the way. You guys can't see it. Let me see if I'm missing anything. They got Mirage's character spot on. See, I disagree. Like, I remember Mirage in the comic as the Jeep, and so I don't remember him being like all hip at all. I thought he was more like an army guy. So I thought it was like I thought I was misremembering Mirage. I thought of him more as Blue Streak. Maybe they combined Blue Streak and Mirage. You know, like the powers of Mirage, but like with the Blue Streak coloring and stuff. Because I don't know. Am I misremembering who Mirage is in the G1 cartoon? Because I thought he was a Jeep. So I was like, who is Mirage? Like, obviously he's a Transformer, but I can't remember him and the way he was acting. I was just like, I thought it was Blue Streak. So, Michael Bay produced it, directed by Stephen Caple Jr. Okay. Cobra Commander is looking great. And yes, we're the same Western style art. But guys like you and other indie artists rock. Thank you. Thank you, Ralph. He was also a race car. Okay. Okay, well then who was the Jeep? Who was the guy, the green Jeep, and then he had like the cannon on his shoulder. I don't, that's who I thought Mirage was. Oh, he was Mirage the race car? Was he the race car? You might be right. Hound, that's who I'm thinking. That's why it ruined like a lot of the movie for me. I'm like, man, they're not staying close to their to the source material. So I was a little irritated. Yeah, the race car. Yep. Now that makes more sense. Makes a lot more sense. All right. So is that enough energy? Do you think manga fans would be okay with this non-perfect style? Forget who it was from Portugal. Let's say his last name was Santos. So if Mr. Santos is around, I'd love to see if this would resonate with him, because he said that he doesn't think he can emotionally connect with the Western style artwork just because it didn't have the energy. So I hate for people to not connect with Alpha Red. I want everybody to love Alpha Red. But so I'm not against learning and growing. That is what I want. I want to be better. Always wanted to strive to be better. Striving to be better, always. And always striving to connect with more fans of comics. And try to make them fans of Alpha Red. So, just trying to look through and see where I can add some energy. Energy. While still like maintaining some of the some of how I prefer my artwork to look. So, you know, these are just kind of reflections of the inside of the helmet. This is kind of a reflection of whatever's going on out here. And I think I'm pretty close to, pretty close to colors. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Hound was the Jeep. Yes, thank you for the confirmation, bro. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go with number 3 for just little extra lines of energy. Let's go extra, extra. Extra lines that make it look like it has more energy. Things that are kind of interesting to look at while you're just looking at him. While he's just standing there, what can add some interest for your eye visually? So that's what I'm looking for. Because I don't want it to just be kind of random. You could use a shadow under his crotch area here as the light source in my mind is coming downward like so. And yeah, now I'm kicking myself because I was thinking that they got the character wrong as far as his personality. Although I guess I don't remember Mirage very much as far as being as hip as they made him. But yeah, it was good. See, now I like it a little bit more. I like the movie a little bit more. So I don't know, are you guys following? What else are you guys picking up? You picking up Batman, Absolute Batman? Anybody still on the Absolute Batman train? Absolute Batman number 3 came out, I guess on the 18th. But I didn't pick it up until last Saturday, so I didn't read it until this week. So I was, let me know. What did you guys think? Do you guys pick it up? Do you not pick it up? Are you all indie, or are you still partially into the mainstream? Although G.I. Joe is technically an indie book, is what they say. Man, I haven't bought a commercial comics in a few years. Wow, a few years. Nice. That's a commitment to stay away, bro. No, a lot of it is hot garbage, for sure. So I didn't get back into it until I started listening to some reviews online, and they kind of guided me to stuff that. That's how I found G.I. Joe and Transformers, is because so many of the channels that I was watching recommended it, and so I picked it up, and I was hooked. I try not to get from the big two anymore. Yeah, yep. I get it. I just kind of follow certain creators, I guess, just because the quality is typically there, and I give them the benefit of the doubt because of the history that I have, where they wrote or drew something that I liked. And so I get excited to see if they still got it, you know. Ralph says, keeping to indie, haven't bought anything since the last Black Adam series. Oh, okay. Wow, that's a long time. I don't even remember a Black Adam series. I think, was that Gary Frank who was drawing? I don't know if you follow the creators, Jeff Johns, Gary Frank. That's kind of the the style that I'm picturing in my head if there was a Black Adam. I'm gonna take a picture of this, guys, before I jump in with the colors. If you would have a little patience with me here. Hitting it. All right. So, it's color time, guys. Color time. Do you think it's ready? You think it has enough energy to move forward? Here, let me put a little signature down here. If I don't do this ahead of time, I'll think that I can just wing it with the inks, and I always regret it. Like, oh, it's too big, it's too small, it's too crooked. But if you start off with the pencils, so you might be looking at the last drawing I do for 2024, guys. Last one of 2024. Because I got a lot of work to do when Monday starts. Because I took most of last week off, and I got some catching up to do. Got some catching up to do. Color away, Ernest says. Yes. Color away. Color away, says Ralph. All right. So, because my blue, my favorite blue aqua marker is running out, and Cobra Commander's costume is so blue, so much blue, I don't want to chance it. So I'm gonna grab all the blues that I got from this set that my wife bought me, and we'll see how it turns out. So I don't want to go. I'll go light first, and then if I like it, I'll add some dark. If I don't like it, I'll just make it darker. So let's start. Boy, that looks almost green, teal. Yeah. Well, maybe. I won't say no. But we're looking at Carolina blue. Carolina blue. Is Carolina blue a good blue? I don't know if you guys can see it here. It's not a bad blue. It's a little darker than I thought. Let me see. I'm gonna compare it to some Cobra blue from the comic. Sometimes I forget that the references that I can get are right in the pages that I have right here. So this is kind of some laser action, so I don't know if I can trust it. So it is a darker blue. That's not a bad blue then. Carolina blue it is, guys. Carolina blue it is. I don't know why Carolina has its own blue, but we're gonna roll with it. But I'm not super on board yet, so we're gonna stick to where the shadows would be, because it's kind of darker than I was picturing in my head. But my head lies to me sometimes. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, I'm feeling more comfortable with it. Then we'll leave a little bit of white to make it look like it's shiny. Shiny. You know, there's a Moana song in there somewhere. Shiny. That's all I remember, though. My kids used to watch it all the time, and I would know where where it was in the movie when that came on. All right. So I used a whitening thing to white out like this area to block out the G.I. Joe so that it kind of peeks up into the title, and it doesn't take the color the same. So that's the discoloration that you see there. It's awesome if you just keep it black and white because you don't even notice it. But because part of that is blue, you kind of notice. So hopefully this can make it through the whole thing without dying on me. This set is very good because there's lots of colors and it works really good when it works, but you never know when it's going to die. And so that's why I don't tend to like to color with markers that I don't have a lot of history with. And you notice how I'm just coloring mostly in the blocks that that are similar, so that if it runs out and I have to switch blues or whatever, or if it gets streaky, I can switch things out and it won't be as noticeable while I search for a similar blue to Carolina blue. So, I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is available on Etsy. For $25, this can go right to your house. That includes the shipping. So, this is a cheap way to get some original art. I typically charge a lot more for it, but when I do it on the drawstream, I like to keep it cheap. That's just a strategy for right now. I forget why. I forget why. But I guess gotta stick with it until I remember, or if I realize I've made a mistake, letting it go for nothing. See, I'm trying to keep it in that section here. And maybe that might look like it, like his thigh is a little hitting a highlight. It's hitting the thigh there. Same thing here. Just want to keep it. His kneecap is a little different, slightly lighter, so that it looks like the light is hitting it. Same thing with the shin here. And if I don't like it, I just color it in. Bam. And same thing with his leg right here. Just want to maybe continue like a light streak right here. I'll go back. When you go back in the second time, it'll add a little bit of a deeper color. When you let it dry, you come back in. You can sometimes add another shadow to kind of add a little bit more depth. So, like, I'll come in here, baboomski, and this is definitely all dry because that was one of the first things that I did. So, I want to do the lapel thing here, the little collar, give that some depth under his pectoral there. Then I cast a shadow down under his arm. where his abs would be. They make him a pretty tough mama jama in this comic, in these comics. So I don't mind making him a little bit more studly than they even draw him in this comic, and definitely more beefy and masculine than he is portrayed in the cartoon. Seems like a wuss in the cartoon, even though, like I said, I didn't understand why people were scared of him or listened to him. But they put all those answers to bed in the comic book series. And he is ruthless and very violent and very smart, very cunning, and I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I was looking through the miniseries again today in preparation, and I forgot how brutal he was. Hoo-wee. That's a Tradian Justice Blue. Nice. I didn't realize Carolina Blue is a Tradian Justice Blue. I thought a Tradian Justice was darker. When I colored him for you, I thought a Tradian Justice was a darker blue. Maybe I should go back and revisit. So that was a good blue, actually. So I don't want to mess it up, because I can get some more shade, like I said, if you wait for it to dry and then you just come back in. It'll add another layer of that color, and so it will get darker. Usually I'll try to get a darker version of that color and kind of go in, but I think this is doing a pretty good job. Just when I wait for it to dry and go back in and cast that shadow from that helmet, cast that shadow under his bicep there, cast those shadows in those wrinkles to hopefully bring them out a little bit. There's a little thigh muscle thing there. Don't know the names of all the muscles, but yeah, that looks pretty decent, guys. What do you think? I'm gonna add some gray tones here for his gloves and his gun and all the things, his boots. So this is a 30% gray, cool gray, 30%. I don't know if you can see that. Even though it's a black glove, and I will go much, much darker. I want to make sure that I got a base of a lighter color in there. And I'll go back in with a 5, and then maybe 50% gray. Ooh, I forgot. That is like red. I think his belt is red. I had some references around here. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, it is black and red. So that is black around the triangle here. Looks great. A little darker. Yep. That's what I thought. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe, I mean, for sure it could be, like, especially in a brighter light. Where did I put that 50? Oh, I got so many more places to add this. Let's do in his helmet here. You don't want to do too much, because you do want it to its own thing. And this white belt. I don't know what's going on with that, but it is there. And we're going to color this gray. Obviously much darker. And we'll get into that shortly. Lay this base down. So I've been following Absolute Batman. I know you guys are more into the indie as you look for alternatives to the big two. And I was intentional about not following the big two, but mostly because I didn't feel it was safe. I didn't feel like they were catering towards a conservative Christian comic book fan. So I stopped looking. But after seeing some of these reviews, it kind of pulled me back into maybe I'll give them a try. And some of it's a hit or miss, because they do read it and they let you know. I don't always agree with the reviewers. Sometimes it's a little more offensive to me than they seem to be offended by some of the content. But to each their own, and then I can get a taste of what they consider to be acceptable or not. Just is what it is. But I have been following the Absolute Batman, and I am sharing it with my son. I black out some of the more violent scenes, and any kind of blasphemy is usually the problem. I'll black that out. Any kind of sexual innuendo or whatever, I'll take it out too. And that's for him to discover if he continues to pick up comics, and for him to decide whether or not he can tolerate it. He knows where I stand on it. And he knows I stand where I stand on it because I black it out. So he can decide if I'm being a little too, legalistic or over the top, or if he thinks he can tolerate something a little bit more. Let me see here. Is this a 70? Here's a 70. This will start getting really, really dark here. Let me see. I heard that Absolute Batman is a good story if you don't think about the character as Batman characters. My son and I just talked about that today. And he enjoys it so much because he doesn't have really an idea about many stories of Batman. So he'll just accept it as Batman. But he says, I don't know many of the names. Like some of the things that is a little off-putting for me is that Batman's friends in this, Bruce Wayne's friends, are all Batman's enemies in the normal universe. So Killer Croc, the Riddler, Two-Face, are all his friends from childhood, and he interacts with them in a friendly way so far. And so that kind of is distracting to me a little bit. Not that I care that much, because I like Batman, but I don't care enough about it, I guess is the best way to describe it, so that I can suspend my tastes for what they do in the Absolute Batman. But he was he was coming up with theories on who certain people were, and I was like, no, it can't be that person because the name is different. And he's like, oh, but what if they change the name? And I go, oh, you know, entirely possible. But let me see, where's the red? I think we are almost done here, guys. Oh, his gun is not done. Done. But yeah, it is true that you have to suspend everything you know about Batman in order to enjoy absolute Batman. So it's Batman in name only. They use a lot of the characters in their names, but they're different in this universe. So, but there are definitely moments. It's a cool looking Batman. I told him I don't like how Nick Dragata draws faces, so it kind of throws me off. So if I had a complaint, that would be one. And some of the anatomy sometimes with the kids and stuff. I was like, I'm not impressed. I don't mean to be mean, because I'm not a mean person, but definitely not my taste. It definitely has more of an indie feel. So, but there are scenes that are, it's well written, is what I appreciate about it. And I liked Scott Snyder back when he was doing Tomato Red. All right, we'll try some Tomato Red here. The first go round with Batman and the Court of Owls stuff, and that's where my fondness for Scott Snyder comes from. And so I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt when he was returning, even though he was writing it when I dropped out. Greg Capullo was still drawing it, and he's one of my favorite Batman artists. And even though they both brought me the Court of Owls and everything I liked about that, I dropped it because it got dark, and the continuity was all scrambled because they were doing a lot of event books. What am I looking for? I'm looking for a darker gray here to make this more black. So yeah, I did drop out, even though some of my favorite creators were still drawing and writing it at the time. But for him to come back, I watched him on a bunch of Scott Snyder, when he was promoting the book. And it got me excited about it. I appreciated how much he was trying to do to get the word out. So, and I was pleasantly surprised when I picked it up. All right, guys, man, time flies when you're having fun. Let me read some of the chats as we close things up here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope, that was it, I think. Great job on COBRA Commander. He looks great. Gotta go. See you next Sunday. Thanks for hanging out, Ralph. Really appreciate you and your support. So we'll see you next week. We'll talk to you on the board for sure. All right, guys. I think I'm caught up with the chats. So really do appreciate you guys hanging out on a Sunday evening. If you haven't hit the like button already, please hit the like button, hit the share, hit the subscribe, hit all those good buttons that make other people want to see it. So I appreciate you. I'm gonna hit the outro, and until next time, grace and peace.
From the shadows he rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start with faith as his armor and a fire in his soul. Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need, with the power of alpha red.